Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to another session by Encora Elements. This is our platform where we like to share our knowledge freely. It's the way of us giving back to society. And we have many use cases, and and all of our presenters are working on the subject that they present. So we have extra clarity, many examples, and sometimes we have live demos. Today, we are very happy and proud to have Rajashree with us. Now, Rajashree has a good 15 years of experience. She's within Quora as a technical lead, an aspiring cloud solutions architect, data engineering enthusiast, and bridging code, cloud, and data for next level solutions. Now, if you want to know something personal about Rajashree, she likes to bake and is an expert at baking cakes and cupcakes. So, without wasting any more time, I'm going to hand the session over to Rajashree and she'll take it from there. Over to you, Raj.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David, for that quick introduction and warm welcome to everyone for joining today's webinar. Let me share my presentation for today. All right. Hello all, I'm Rajashree and I am currently a part of the data and analytics practice at Encora, where I focus on designing modern and cloud-based data solution for a different range of customer requirements. So today's session is for everyone, whether you are a developer, working hands-on, or an architect who is designing enterprise source systems, or maybe a decision maker who is looking to drive into innovation through cloud. Today, we will be exploring the practical strategies to guide your cloud journey and help the businesses succeed in today's fast-changing digital world. So that's the introduction has been covered. So moving on, cloud computing, it has been a hot topic for a while now. So you might wonder, haven't we heard all of it yet? But this is where the things get interesting. Cloud computing has moved beyond that buzzword stage and is now the backbone of most of the businesses, how they innovate, scale, and they stay competitive. And as it is changing all the time with new set of possibilities, new challenges, and whole lot of new choices. So today we are here not just to look at the core concept of cloud computing as a checklist or something you might do because everyone is doing it. We are here to break it down, understand its potential, and figure out how it can directly solve the challenges that we face on day-to-day basis. To simply put, how we can turn cloud computing into a true competitive advantage, whether it may be by scaling the products, cutting the cost, or by future-proofing our strategies. So let's dive in together and explore how we can unlock the true potential of the cloud for our business requirements. As we all know that the businesses today are already using cloud in some way, shape, or form. But the real question that we need to ask ourselves here is, if the cloud adoption is so widespread, then why are so many companies still running into the issues? Think about it. Why do we still see businesses facing outages during the critical moments? Why do we see security breaches keep making headlines? Why do teams struggle to integrate their legacy systems to their cloud infrastructure? So these are all the problems that we encountered in one form or another. And I'm sure many of you had faced them too. So it is not simply enough to be on cloud anymore. We really need to have that right cloud strategy that works with your business requirements. That is where we get to the heart of today's session. It is about identifying the right type of cloud, public, private, or hybrid, and which aligns best with your business requirements. The cloud itself offers immense potential, but the key lies in using it effectively. So our goal is to ensure that the cloud strategy not only meets today's needs, but it also positions you for a long-term growth. With that in mind, let us take a look at the agenda for today's session. We have got a lot of ground to cover, but I have broken it down into key sections that will give you a solid roadmap of building the right cloud strategy for your requirement. We will begin by understanding the core concepts of cloud computing. Then we will explore how cloud adoption benefits businesses in terms of scalability, cost efficiency, and agility. Then we will dive into the three core service models, that is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. And we will understand when to use each of them. Next, we will review the cloud deployment models and their fitment for different business requirements. We will also have a practical example to see how these cloud concepts are applied to the real world scenarios. And finally, we will have a framework, a decision-making framework that will help you guide your decision-making when you are choosing the cloud strategy. Sounds good? So by the end of this session, we will have a clear framework that you can start using right away to build a cloud strategy that aligns with your business requirements or goals. So let's get started. What exactly is cloud computing, and why has it become such cornerstone for all the modern businesses today? So I would say that in its simplest form, it is the delivery of computing services, things like servers, storages, databases, networks, softwares, and many more over the internet. Or we often call it as cloud. Instead of owning and managing your own infrastructure, we are renting it from the different cloud providers like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. So it is not just about moving your infrastructure online. Rather, it is a complete shift today in how businesses are thinking about cost in terms of cost, flexibility, and focus. Let me explain this. So back in the day, if a company wanted to build an application, they had to buy tons of expensive servers. And they had to hope or estimate so perfectly that they should be ready for whatever demand came in their way. But today, with cloud computing, you can scale up when you need when you need more power, and you can scale down when the things slow down. And the best part, you only pay for what you use. This on-demand model has completely changed the game. Let's take a look at it from an architect's perspective. When you are designing an application like an e-commerce platform, let's say for a peak season, a holiday season, Christmas season, and you want to ensure that the infrastructure can scale as needed. So traditionally, this required extensive planning and physical hardware management. But with cloud, you can configure an environment that can dynamically scale to handle thousands of users without constantly worrying about provisioning of new servers when the demand comes. Once it is set up, the cloud takes care of the scaling, leaving you free to focus on your product innovation and optimization from the architecture point of view. However, it is not just architects or infrastructure teams that benefit from the cloud. Businesses across industries are pushing the boundaries of what a cloud can do. Whether it is machine learning, Gen AI, IoT, or even blockchain, The cloud is empowering innovation on a large scale, on a very massive scale. According to the latest reports from Gartner and Forrester, over 90% of the companies are already using cloud services in some or the other capacity. Yet, despite this widespread adoption, the real question remains, how many are truly maximizing its potential? So the question is, what makes cloud computing so critical today? Let us talk about the key business benefits that the cloud would solve for any type of business. Number one, the scalability. Imagine, again, let's take example of a e-commerce website, and imagine being able to expand your infrastructure as needed without worrying about running out of capacity. Cloud computing, it allows the businesses to scale up during peak periods and scale down when the demand is low. And this ensures that the resources are never wasted. Then we have cost efficiency. Uh, Traditionally, businesses had to invest heavily in terms of servers and data centers, which is nothing but capital expenditure. With cloud, you can switch to an operational expenditure model where you only pay for what you use. This makes it possible to align cost with demand and therefore reducing the financial waste. Next, business agility. If you look at the speed at which you can develop, deploy, test, and launch new applications on the cloud, it is unmatched these days. Businesses no longer have to wait for the hardware procurement or infrastructure setup. In cloud, deploying application happens in minutes. Another important factor is global reach and redundancy. So in today's digital world, customers expect 24/7 service availability, no matter where they are located geographically. Cloud computing makes it possible with the ease of deployment of these applications across multiple regions, which ensures low latency and a seamless experience for the users located around the globe. And also the built-in redundancy across the global data centers, it also reduces the risk of outages. Another important factor would be security and compliance. So cloud providers are constantly updating their infrastructure to meet the latest security standards. They are offering built-in encryption, access control, and they are also offering compliance certifications, for example, GDPR and HIPAA. So the businesses in highly regulated industries like healthcare, finance, they can take advantage of the cloud solutions to meet compliance requirements while they maintain the data privacy. And last but not the least is the disaster recovery. With the cloud-based backup and disaster recovery solutions, businesses can ensure that they are prepared for the worst case scenarios. And this therefore eliminates the need for expensive disaster recovery infrastructure, and it ensures that data is always available, even in the event of local data center failure. So while the cloud was initially about cutting cost and simplifying the infrastructure, today it is about unlocking new capabilities and accelerating the business growth. So as you will see in today's session, we will understand how to use all these things effectively, whether it could be through public, private, or hybrid models. All right. So let's make this part a little more fun. Cloud computing can get a little bit technical, but I think we can all here agree that everyone understands pizza. So let's use pizza to break down the different service models, different cloud service models: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now, if you think about it, These service models are like different ways how you make or order the pizza. Let me explain you how. The on-prem is like making a pizza at home, completely from scratch. You're doing everything. You go to the store, you buy the ingredients, you roll out the dough, you prepare the sauce, add the toppings, bake the pizza, and then definitely clean up afterwards. It is a lot of work, right? But you get full control. In IT terms, this is when the company builds and manages its own application on its own, right from the servers, infrastructure, and application, everything in-house. Every piece of the system, from the hardware to the software, is managed internally. However, we are in 2024 now, so most of the companies aren't doing this anymore. They are looking for more efficient ways to handle the infrastructure, and that is where all these different cloud services come into picture. Let's talk about infrastructure as a service. It is like buying a pizza kit. So these pizza kits are like they are the boxes which have a pre-made dough, a sauce, a cheese, and a topping or maybe of your choice. But you still have to assemble it and bake it. In the cloud world, what this would mean is the infrastructure as a service gives you the infrastructure, the server, the networking, the storage, but you still will have to manage the operating system, application, and the data. The cloud provider will take care of the hardware and you can handle the rest of the things. For example, let's say you are a developer and working on an e-commerce website. With infrastructure as a service, you don't need to worry about about buying the setup or setting up the physical servers, but you will still have full control over how the website runs, what kind of operating system it uses, and how it scales. And this is typically great. It works great for the businesses who want the flexibility, that want the flexibility, but they don't want to hassle with the management of their own hardware. Next is platform as a service. Now, here we are talking in terms of like platform as a service where we are ordering a par-baked pizza. It is half cooked and you just have to add your choice of toppings and finish baking it. In cloud terms, the cloud provider gives you both the infrastructure and a platform so that you don't have to worry about setting up servers or managing the operating system. You can completely focus on building your own application. For example, let's say your business wants to develop a mobile application. With platform as a service, you don't have to worry about about managing the servers, the databases, or scaling, or even security patches for those servers. You can completely focus on the application itself. That's it. And the cloud provider will take care of the rest. This is particularly suitable for the companies who want to build quick and without dealing with all kind of backend complexities. Google App Engine is one of the great example of platform as a service. It lets developers build application without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. You focus on the code and the platform will take care of everything else. And then finally, we have software as a service. The most easiest and probably in the pizza analogy, the most delicious option. SaaS is like ordering a fully baked, cooked pizza delivered to your door. You don't have to do anything, you just enjoy it. The cloud provider handles everything, the infrastructure, the platform, the application as well. You just have to use it. So think about the tools that you used on day-to-day basis like Gmail, Microsoft 365, or Salesforce. These SaaS applications, you don't need to worry about servers, patches, updates, security, nothing of that sort. You just log in and use the software. Now, this is perfect for the businesses that want the ease of use, where they don't need to control, or they basically don't need to control over the underlying technology. It just use the final product. But the question here is, why does this matters? What is the real world, real time impact of these models on the different roles that are there in the engineering? So, well, depending on your role, if you are a developer or an IT manager or a part of a leadership team, you might interact with different part of this model in some or the other way. As a developer, you will prefer a platform as a service because then you can focus on uh, coding and innovation and not worry about the infrastructure. IT managers might lean towards infrastructure as a service if they want more control over the environment, but they don't want to deal with the hardware. And for the companies who want to focus on user productivity, software as a service is a no-brainer because it is easy to implement and it does not require any technical maintenance. We are in 2024, so companies are more dependent on these models than ever before. Hybrid models that combine infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service are becoming the standard. They are allowing businesses to mix and match what they need. They could be using infrastructure as a service for the backend services, platform as a service for the development, and software as a service for some internal tooling. And the beauty here is the cloud makes it all possible at a scale. So next time when you hear the terms infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service, just think about a pizza. It is all about how much control and involvement you want in the process. Whether you want to make everything from scratch or you have it delivered ready to go, the cloud has solution for you. All right, so let's move to the core topic of today's session, the three fundamental cloud deployment models, public, private, and hybrid cloud. These models are the pillar of any cloud strategy, and understanding the differences is very much essential while making the decisions and the right choices for the business requirement that you're working on. Every model has its own strength and trade-offs. So let me begin with the well-known public model. Public model is one of the most familiar or for many companies, the most attractive option. You can think of a public model like living in a shared apartment where you rent a space, but you share the infrastructure with other tenants. In this case, the cloud provider, whether it is Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud, they own and maintain the infrastructure. You just get the access to the services that you have requested for, but you are not at all responsible for the underlying hardware or can have minimum control over the infrastructure. It all depends on which service model you have choose. It is infrastructure, platform, or software as a service. So what makes public cloud so popular? Two key reasons: scalability and cost efficiency. Scalability, imagine that you are running an e-commerce website and under normal condition, the traffic is steady. But during holiday season, think of Amazon Great Indian Festival and your site traffic can surge by as much as 500% or even more. The public cloud is ideal here as it allows you to scale up very quickly without worrying about the capacity or investing in servers upfront. So this kind of flexibility ensures you can handle the massive influx of customers without any downtime or any kind of performance issues. Then cost efficiency. The public cloud, it operates on pay-as-you-go model, meaning you only pay for what resources you are actually using. So this altogether eliminates the need for large upfront investments in the hardware, making it highly appealing for startups or smaller businesses who need who need to scale without the capital burden of the traditional infrastructure. Of course, there are trade-offs. So one of the biggest concern that a public cloud is security and compliance. Since you are sharing the infrastructure with other companies, there are some organizations, particularly those in heavily regulated industries like finance or healthcare, they might be concerned about data security and meeting regulatory requirements. While public cloud these days do offer robust security measures for businesses handling such sensitive information, it might not always be enough. We will have more details around this in upcoming slides. You will get more clarity. So let's take a look at a typical use cases of public cloud. So as I just mentioned, there are startups and small businesses who want to quickly launch their product without any upfront cost, and they want to rather focus on the growth instead of infrastructure management. Then there are OTT platforms during live events who can handle the massive traffic surge during the high-profile events like football finals or cricket World Cup matches by scaling the resources on demand. Another use case would be global companies. So they would leverage public cloud infrastructure to serve their worldwide customers without having building the data centers in each of the geographic location that they are present in. Let me what all the theory that we have discussed so far about public cloud, let us have a real life example for this. So consider a fast growing fintech startup who is specializing in mobile payments, and they want to roll out their platform very quickly to serve millions of users across the globe. So there are two challenges that they are facing at this point. They had highly unpredictable growth with spikes in user signups and the transaction volumes that made it difficult to plan the infrastructure in advance. And the second challenge that they are facing is they need to ensure a seamless user experience globally without worrying about the complexity of scaling and managing large infrastructure by themselves. So how did they solve this problem? They opted for an AWS solution as their public cloud solution. And let me walk you through how did they do this. So first of all, a quick heads up is like, don't worry too much about the specific AWS services mentioned or used here. Just focus on the overall concept of how the public cloud enable scalability, security, and flexibility for this fintech platform. So at front, you can see we have users accessing the fintech mobile from different geographical locations like AWS Europe, US East, then Asia Pacific Southeast. So this is showing the global reach of the platform. We have this AWS global DNS service called Route 53, which is the first entry point to the whole application or the whole system. It is directing the user traffic to the appropriate server location based on the geography, and therefore minimizing the latency for smoother user experience. After Route 53, the traffic passes through a content delivery network, which ensures that the static content, such as images or any kind of media, is delivered quickly to the users. And therefore, this reduces the load on the primary servers and it improves the performance. Next, the request is routed to a load balancer, which is distributing the traffic evenly across multiple instances of auto-scaling group. These auto-scaling servers, they are dynamically they would dynamically adjust their capacity based on the demand. They will scale up during peak times and scale down during off-peak hours to ensure cost efficiency. At the back end, we have relational database server which is managing the transactional data like payments and user information and things like that. Additionally, there is a static content involved, so it is stored and managed via AWS S3 buckets. In this whole solution, the security and governance is also integrated, and that is ensured through identity and access management service provided by AWS. And lastly, there is auditing, logging, and monitoring mechanism, which is there to track the application performance and therefore flag any potential issues in real time. So in summary, this architecture allows the startup to handle millions of users efficiently, offering global coverage, elastic scaling, built-in security, and robust monitoring, while all staying cost efficient. But still, you may have the question why AWS and the public cloud fit in right here. Let's see that. So number one reason could be speed to market. AWS allowed them to spin up the infrastructure from databases to compute within minutes. They avoided long procurement cycles, and they could start serving the users almost instantly. Second advantage was cost efficiency. With the unpredictable growth, the pay-as-you-go model helped them to scale up or down based on the user demand. This ensured they paid only for what they use. Another advantage is global reach. So using AWS global data centers, they ensured low latency access for their users around the world, and therefore providing a seamless experience across multiple regions. Therefore, public cloud was a perfect fit here because of its rapid scalability, cost efficiency, and global infrastructure. And thus, for the startups facing rapid and unpredictable growth, public cloud would provide the flexibility without any heavy upfront cost. Now let's move to the private cloud. Think of this as owning your own house. You have the complete control over everything: the servers, the networking, the security, the storage, etc. However, the private cloud infrastructure is either hosted on site at your company or by third-party vendor like Amazon or Azure. But it is solely dedicated to your organization. It is not shared. So in which scenarios company would choose a private cloud? So with a greater control comes greater security. Companies in the industries like banking, healthcare, or government who have strict compliance and data security rules, they often prefer private clouds because they provide high level of customization and a very strict access control, a very granular access control, I would say. However, the level of controls comes with the higher price tag here. Managing your own private cloud requires a significant capital expenditure on hardware and also operational cost for maintaining that infrastructure. It is also a bit less flexible than the public cloud because it doesn't scale as easily. You will need to plan the capacity upfront. The typical use cases for private cloud would be, again, the banking, healthcare, and government sectors who need strict compliance in terms of GDPR or HIPAA. Then there are businesses requiring complete oversight over the sensitive data in terms of data security and control. And there are legacy system enterprises with critical where the legacy systems, they can't be easily moved to the public cloud environments. let's check a real world use case of a private cloud implementation. So in this scenario, it involves a pharma organization which needs to maintain tight control over the sensitive data while complying with the strict industry regulations. This pharma organization manages highly sensitive data, like clinical trial information, let's say, and patient records. And they must comply with the stringent regulations such as HIPAA, GDPR, and FDA standards. Ensuring data privacy and regulatory compliance are the top priorities, along with the need to integrate with their legacy system into a modern infrastructure. So the challenges, once again, the organization need to meet regulatory requirements while maintaining the complete control over their data. They also had to ensure the integration of legacy systems that couldn't easily be migrated to a public cloud. So full control, compliance, and security are the three non-negotiable factors in this setup or this requirement. So how did they solve this problem again? At the front, you can see there are remote users. So these remote users could be healthcare professionals, including doctors, nurses, or even researchers. And they access the private cloud through a secure channel. They pass through an intrusion detection system, ensuring only authenticated users are having the access. So let me walk you through the key features of this solution of private cloud. Inside this private cloud, you see how patient and clinical trial data are handled. The data is stored in a secure environment, managed under a strict access control policy that is complying with HIPAA. And by using role-based access control, the organization is ensuring that only authorized personnel can access the specific data. Then the compliance is built directly into the architecture. The organization, they can customize the security policies and ensure that the entire infrastructure meets the requirements of HIPAA, GDPR, and FDA, which is vital in a regulated industry like this pharma organization. And then we have the legacy systems, like old healthcare applications. They remain which remain fully integrated with private cloud using role-based access policies. This allows the organization to continue using these mission-critical systems while also benefiting from the scalability and the flexibility that the cloud environment would provide. An important component here is a backup and disaster recovery. The data replication here, it ensures that all the sensitive information is continuously backed up on a secure backup data center. This adds a layer of disaster recovery, ensuring that the integrity and the availability of the data, even in the case of failures, it is there. Unexpected failures, definitely. And finally, there is a real-time logging and monitoring capability, which will allow the pharma organization to track the system performance, and identify any potential issues proactively. So this whole setup ensures that the entire infrastructure remains secure and compliant at all the times. So again, why private cloud? Because if we are only talking about the security features like HIPAA or GDPR, so we just mentioned that even public cloud providers, they are also offering these features. So why private cloud? So the private cloud here gives organization complete ownership of their infrastructure, data, and security policies. So this is ensuring that they have total control over sensitive data, something which is very critical when managing patient and trial information. And then the compliance factor, the customizability of a private cloud allowed them to certify their entire infrastructure for HIPAA, GDPR, and FDA compliance. Unlike in public cloud, where you will have to depend on third-party compliance guarantees. Private Private cloud offers you the complete flexibility to meet any unique industry or regulatory standards as per your requirement. So even though public cloud providers like AWS, Azure, they offer high security and compliance certifications, private is chosen because unlike multi-tenant, there is no shared resources, first of all. Unlike the multi-tenant model of a public cloud, the private cloud provides dedicated resources and infrastructure, which mitigates the concern about data sovereignty and shared environments. Second, the organization required a tailored security and encryption policies that could not have been finely tuned in a public cloud environment. Thus, the private cloud offers the granularity required for your specific regulatory needs. And lastly, with the private cloud, the pharma organization had the complete visibility and the control over their entire infrastructure from hardware decisions to software implementations, ensuring no reliance on the third-party vendors for security. So key takeaway here is that private cloud is essential for organizations with strict compliance requirements and sensitive data, such as pharma sector. While public cloud offerings have grown in terms of security, private provides the ultimate control, customization, and ownership that these kind of industries require, and ensuring absolute data security. Moving on, here is the third and the final model, hybrid cloud. This is often considered the best of both worlds, public and private. Think of hybrid cloud as owning your house, but renting out an extra space when you need it. You keep the control of your core infrastructure, your house, but when you need more capacity, an extra room, you rent it from someone else. In a hybrid setup, you are combining private and public cloud environments. So you stay more sensitive. You can store the sensitive data and mission critical workloads on your private cloud while using the public cloud for any additional storage or computing power as required. This kind of flexibility is especially useful for the companies that want to balance the control with scalability. For example, consider a hospital that wants to keep patient records on a private cloud for security reasons, but it want to use a public cloud to run its website and other less sensitive applications. The hybrid cloud model allows businesses to adapt to different needs and therefore maximize the efficiency while still managing control over critical aspects of the infrastructure. The typical use cases of a hybrid cloud are like, as we just discussed, businesses with fluctuating workloads, but sensitive data. Then there are companies with existing on-prem infrastructure that need public cloud scalability. And there could be enterprises who need to maintain the compliance while benefiting from the cloud scalability. Let's take a real-world example for a public cloud solution. Here is a global retail company who has implemented this hybrid cloud model. So this retailer operates on both physical stores and a large e-commerce platform. So what is their challenge? The challenge is balancing the daily operations in-store system and at the same time handle the unpredictable and extreme traffic spikes during the shopping periods like Black Friday. The retailer's core infrastructure is designed to handle normal traffic flows in their physical stores, but during major shopping seasons, their online traffic could surge by up to 200% or so. So this created a need for a significant extra compute during the peak hours or the peak periods. And the company wanted a solution to handle both steady in-store demand at the same time massive traffic spikes without overspending on infrastructure. Otherwise, that would be underutilization of the infrastructure during regular operations. So here is the implementation of a hybrid cloud for the retail use case. The retailer's critical POS systems and inventory management systems, they are hosted in the private cloud. This is allowing the company to maintain control over the core infrastructure, ensuring high reliability, low latency for the in-store operations. Since these systems are vital for managing their day-to-days, the private cloud also ensured the stability and security which is required for smooth operations in store. Then there is a public cloud for peak traffic handling. During high demand, such as Black Friday, as we said, the retailer is using AWS public cloud to handle the surge in online traffic. As it is illustrated in the diagram, the user requests are directed through a load balancer and processed by an auto-scaling group of servers. And the relational database in the public cloud, it is storing and managing the transactional data for the online sales. This dynamic scaling allowed the company to automatically adjust their infrastructure to accommodate the influx of users during peak times without needing to maintain a large on-premise infrastructure for a year-round use. A critical part of the retailer strategy was utilizing AWS for the backup and disaster recovery as well. As we can see in the diagram, the data replication occurred between the public cloud relational database and the private cloud. So this ensured that if the private cloud failed or it is experiencing outage for some reason, the public cloud could act as a failover, guaranteeing continuous operations without interruptions and vice versa. So why hybrid was fit? Let's just summarize it. By hosting the POS and inventory management system on the private cloud, the company could guarantee the reliability and low latency which is required for the day-to-day crucial business activities. The public cloud offered elastic stability for handling surges in the online traffic during the peak sale periods. And the RDS ensured that all the transactional data was stored efficiently in the public cloud during these peak times. The company didn't need to maintain or pay for the additional infrastructure year-round, but could scale up during high times of demand. And finally, the hybrid model allowed the retailer to strike the right balance between cost efficiency and flexibility by combining the scalability of public, including RDS, with the control of private cloud infrastructure. Therefore, the hybrid cloud approach provided the retailer with the best of both worlds: control and reliability for essential in-store operations on the private cloud, scalability to handle seasonal traffic spikes on the public cloud. The use of RDS in the public cloud, it enabled efficient handling of the transaction during peak hours, ensuring the cost efficiency without compromising the performance during the critical sales events. Okay. Moving ahead, so this slide gives you a high-level overview of some important factors that we should consider when choosing a cloud deployment model. Rather than going into every detail, let me focus on the big picture here. Every factor here, whether it is a cost, scalability, or data control, it helps shape the right cloud strategy for the business requirement. And the key to figure out which areas matter you the most. Okay, so the real take away here, I would say, is you don't have to choose just one path. You can mix and match different cloud models to suit your needs. And as we continue, keep this consideration in the mind that They will help you guide you. They will help you guide as you think through what will work best for your organization. And of course, there are some downsides for each of these deployment models. So that is what this slide is talking about. The public cloud might give you the flexibility, but with that comes less control over the security. Private cloud gives you the control of what you want, but it is more costly to maintain and manage. And then the hybrid cloud, which seems to be the best of both worlds, but it also brings in its own set of complexities, especially when it comes to integration and management. So it's like no one size fits all solution exists. Each model has its strengths and trade-offs. And the trick is to choose the right balance based on your business needs and risk tolerance. Now here comes the part where the rubber hits the road. How do you choose the right model for your business? As promised at the beginning, here is a framework that will help you evaluate your cloud strategy. Think of this as a flexible guideline rather than a fixed solution. Different factors like cost, scalability, or security will carry more weight depending on where your business is currently and where you are headed. The key here is that this framework will evolve with your business. You might be focused on scalability now, but as your needs change, so will your priorities, whether it is optimizing your performance, ensuring compliance, or disaster recovery. So this decision-making framework allows you to make informed choices and continually adapt your cloud strategy as the business grows. And it is not just about making a decision for today. You have to think about future-proofing your approach as well. To bring all these concepts to the life, let's take a look at some real-world success stories of the cloud deployment. All these are the examples how businesses have customized their cloud strategies to meet specific needs and drive growth. Companies like Netflix, Dropbox, and Coca-Cola have shown us the versatility of the cloud solution. Netflix, as you can see, they have leveraged the public cloud to scale globally and manage the traffic spikes effortlessly. Dropbox, on the other hand, have migrated to the cloud for the better cost efficiency and scalability. While Coca-Cola embraced a hybrid approach to secure their internal operations and scale their external services. These stories, they highlight the flexibility and impact of cloud strategies across the industries. There are other examples like Airbnb, Spotify, Unilever, right? So who have also capitalized on smart cloud strategies, whether handling massive user traffic, optimizing data processing, or balancing global compliance. All these businesses showcase how the cloud helped them innovate, streamline, and overcome their challenges in their own way. So as we wrap up, my goal today was to provide you with a practical roadmap for navigating your cloud journey with some confidence. And these real-world examples we have explored show that while there isn't one size fits all solution, the right cloud strategy, which is tailored to your unique needs, can unlock incredible value for your business. With the best practices and the framework that we have discussed, and you now have the foundation to start making informed decision. But let's be clear here that this is just the beginning of the story. Cloud transformation isn't a one-time event, it is a journey, and today was just the first step in realizing its full potential. So before we close, I encourage you to take the next step, whether it is that you are reevaluating your current setup, maybe exploring new deployment models, or diving deeper into the strategic conversations within your team. The possibilities are vast and endless, and your cloud journey has just started. So, um, thank you for your time and attention today. And I hope I'm leaving with a clear vision of how cloud can derive real value for your organization. With that, I will now hand it back to David for any questions or final thoughts on this webinar. Thank you.
Rajashri, there are no questions today. So even as we store the session on YouTube and questions arise, I can always point them to you and you can come and answer it. But I'd like to thank you for this very insightful and very clear session, I must say, where you explained everything so clearly, easy to understand. And thank you for taking the time and preparing and presenting to us. Thank you so much, Rajashri. And thank you all for attending.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.